Alrighty guys, welcome to the first video of this channel. I'm SeaTurtle17 and I'm here with some City Skylines gameplay. This is gonna be I'm gonna apologize in advance. This is gonna be a 22-minute 11-second video. At least that's what it's at right now. These city building videos usually take that long anyway. But yeah, it's gonna be a pretty long ride. In this video we're just gonna be outlaying the highway of the map. As you can see right here, I'm choosing the map. I would eventually choose, I forgot which one I choose. I think I chose Great Lake eventually. We'll see in a sec. No, Eden Valley. I chose Eden Valley. I think I was deciding between Eden Valley and Great Lake. So I wanted to go with an interesting name. I usually put real names into the names of my town, and I would end up naming this one Dansville, PA, but unfortunately there's already a Danville, PA. So that name's probably going to change eventually. But yeah, so this is going to be the Dansville, PA city build. It's going to take a little while. I'm just going to be outlaying the highway in this episode, and I'm going to be creating a transportation hub, so pretty much airports where all the transportation is going to start. There will be no dynamic weather or night cycle yet, but later on when I start getting the outlay of the city all together, I'll turn those back on so that way we can have an even more of a realistic feel. So yeah, I'll be cutting in and out, giving commentary. I don't want to commentate for the whole 22 minutes. I'll be playing some music, and then you can see what I'm building there. Now a little bit commentary on the zones that I chose here. I'm going to be doing sort of like each opposite side of the lake. So on one side of that lake, I'm going to be having a transportation zone with the industrial area, and on the other side is going to be the main city. So I'll probably add some suburban areas around the transportation hub and around the industrial area. But other than that, it's just mostly going to be those two things. But yeah, I'm just going to let the music play, let you guys see what I'm doing here. I just start off with the outlay of the highway, and then when I start getting into some more complex stuff for the highway, I'll cut back in. So yeah, enjoy.
visual, both from analog to digital. Like Starbucks, red train now, baby. Coming on the baseline, yeah, I go crazy.
Alright, so what you're seeing here is I'm just looking at the highway. I ran into a little bit of a problem with finding layouts as to how I wanted to do it. What you just saw was all like the third, fourth, fifth tries that I did to try and get the layout correct. Especially with that little highway ramp thing in the river there. That took like 2 place downs to see if it would work. And that one section going onto the other island, that's going to be, or the other side of the river, that's going to be where the city section is. And yeah, so that I'm not gonna touch that right now, but it's good to just have those little roads there for later on when I do. Here I'm just building ramps. I'm building ramps to get off of the highway and head into the transportation hub area. So I've worked with a lot of these crazy ramp ideas that I did on my own, that I've tried out. As you can see, I ran into a little bit of a problem here. I would eventually have to rebuild that whole overpass section. But you know, you run into problems sometimes. I've practiced these a few times, and I really like the idea of an overpass using 4-lane roads. I don't know, there's just something special about the 4-lane roads when you use them. They just look really nice when you use them as overpasses, over places, and specifically in transportation hubs. I don't know, there's just something special about it. But here I'm just building a smaller complex system. It's not too complex nonetheless, just a smaller system for transportation hub, so that way cars will be able to get across from the airport over to the train station and the bus stops that I'll be having there. And I'll be having a tram station on each side, so that way trams can get through. Not so much as for more, you know, transportation throughout the city, but just transportation within the transportation hub itself. So yeah, you're gonna see a lot of that coming up in a little bit. You're gonna see me build some small roads, so that way I can have the airports on the side, and I'm gonna add some decorations, some fencing, and a lot of trees. It's gonna be a lot of trees added, so be prepared for that. Alright, so as you saw, I added two airports. I added the international airport, which is where passengers and whatnot are going to come in, and I added the cargo airport, so that's going to be for like cargo holds and whatnot. So any industrial stuff that comes through will go to that airport. I also added some plazas in front of the airport just to make it look nice. I don't often use those pink trees, but I decided to use them this time. And they actually look pretty good. I like the way that they came out. Added some little walkways in there too. Just for style, just to make it look nice. Here I'm adding, as you saw, was the large transportation hub there. That's going to hold a lot of trains. There's going to be a lot of trains coming through there. And here I'm adding the trams, as you can see. So the tramway is really going to be simple. It's just going to be one way. It's not one way as in like one tram goes up and then comes back. It's just like one path, really, just one circle going from one side to the other side. Just for passengers who don't have cars, they'll be able to go through there. And I also added a blimp spot right there, so that's going to be a blimp hub. So the blimps are going to come out of there, and the blimps are going to go to different areas of the city. I probably won't utilize that until much later, when I have my Skylines set up, so that way I can see where all the tall buildings are and where my sports centers are, so that way I can know where the blimp should go later on. But yeah, that's pretty much what's going on here. Still a lot of trees coming. I eventually add a post office area near the airport because, you know, it's the sorting bins, and so you'll be right next to the airport, so that we could just take the mail there, which is what I'm doing right here. Just put it next to the airport. Excuse me. Just put it next to the airport, so that way we can just get there easier. Doesn't cause a lot of traffic. But yeah, that's pretty much what's going on here. I'm probably gonna cut back in when I start doing the trees. So yeah. Alright, so I added some taxi depots there, as well as some bus depots. And I also added a bus station, as you can see right over there. I had to remove the tram and put the tram back a little bit farther away. I had to redo the track and everything, but that's fine. Here I'm adding trees. I'm a huge tree person. I think that trees look really nice when you're on ground level, driving through the city or walking through the city. Which you'll see probably in the next episode. I think it looks really nice. Sometimes it can look a little unrealistic from sky level, but when you're on the ground, you can really see how realistic it looks. But just adding a little cave there, just a lot of realistic touches. I didn't go through and do a lot of accessories. I think I'll do an episode dedicated to that, where I go through, I add trash cans and benches and whatnot to the streets. But I used two different types of trees here. I used a darker shade of green and a lighter shade of green, and it just looks nice. It looks appealing whenever you do that. A lot of the city is about like looking really nice, so you want the city to look nice and pretty. And there's something about the taller, lighter green trees and darker, smaller green trees. That you know, the darker green, smaller trees, excuse me, that just looks really nice. They really complement each other. And so I just added a lot of those there. I know that when you drive on a highway here on the East Coast, at least, there's a ton of trees next to the highway. So I like to imitate that a lot. So there's going to be a lot of trees next to highway areas, and there's going to be a lot of trees near suburban places as well. But that's pretty much what I'm doing here. Just adding a lot of trees, adding a lot of touches. Thicker forest in this area, and then I'm going to lighten the forest up as we get closer to the airport, because it doesn't always look good being super thick, but I like having thick forests.
Hone your skills. Look, boy, you in the danger room. Yeah, you in the danger room.
Alright, so this is pretty much how we finished up the video. After I was done with the trees, I just started going around and placing fencing, you know, so that way kids wouldn't run into the forest or anything, just for some extra realism. Right around adding fencing, not too much fencing, but enough as to where, you know, seemed pretty realistic, made sense as to where you'd add fencing in real life. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So in this episode we just, you know, did the highway, transportation hub. Next episode I plan on, you know, start moving into the city, get some suburban areas done. I definitely need to add electricity and water, because as of right now none of this has electricity or water, so it's all pretty much dead. But yeah, that's the beginning of Dansville, and hopefully it's a long-lasting series, and we can keep it up, keep it going. Yeah, see you guys next time.